Don't yawn. We just started.
Yeah, well, I'm already done. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the episode 16 of the podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 16 of the Too Bad We Didn't Get Into Cars podcast. My name is Nick Scarpinato.
And David Kabushi Cars.
This is our lovely co-host Vanessa, and this is a Volvo.
Oh my God!
What?
You pay a man and he doesn't do his job.
It is a Volvo V60. We don't know the year. It could be from 2014. It could be from 3008. All I know is that I'm 3000 and late. And I got to get on that. So we are back in the studio, but not really the studio. It only feels like a studio because we have all three cameras again and microphones and we have you back. So thanks for sticking around. Thanks for being a loyal customer and subscriber of the Too Bad We Didn't Get into Pars. Too bad we didn't get into Pars Codcast.
Too bad we didn't get into pears because they're disgusting.
I can't remember the last time I tried a pear. When was the last time you've even eaten a pear?
As a child, I've never eaten one since because they're nasty.
Pears could have changed. You don't know how pears could have changed in the last, however long.
Pears ain't no Obama. There's no change. Just the same shit.
Imagine if Obama was a pear, though. This whole campaign was all about that. It seems like an elaborate hoax where Obama is not an actual person, but instead he's just a pear, and the social media team are the ones that made all the posters, and he's AI generated, so
it's like Mark Zuckerberg being like a lizard.
Barack Obama is a pear,
a sentient pear.
So next time you do a meet and greet with President Barack Obama, you'll know the secret. You'll know his true form. He's a pear.
Hey, are you gonna appear at this next conference?
And then he grabs you by the collar of your shirt and he's like, "How'd you fucking know? You keep your goddamn mouth shut." And then you're like, "Okay, Mr. President," or should I call you Mr. President? And then the CIA.
That's when you get shot.
That's when the Secret Service. Yeah, there was a sniper 2 buildings over, and he's like, "I got the shot." And then Barack Obama, right before the shooter got into position, was like, "Now, don't kill him. Not quite yet." How do you like my Obama? It's okay.
Not bad. Not too bad.
Thanks. I said I say this phrase every once in a while where I'll end a sentence with the 2 words ever and long. Stop. Come on, man. What, do you want that to be the thumbnail? I'm going to scrub through the mostly. Okay. Trade secret. Whenever I make the thumbnails for the clips and the videos that we upload to YouTube, I only scrub through the intro. I don't scrub through the rest of the episode. So if there are any funny faces that we make in the middle of the episode, I'll never know. So because I only go through the first 10 minutes. So that's why I always try to give reaction faces in the first couple of minutes, because that makes it a lot. I might actually use that for Megadeth. I might actually do that for. Oh, God!
Wait, we're talking Megadeth today? What?
Yeah, because as of the filming of this episode, Megadeth released their latest album, The Sick, The Dead, and The Stupid.
And the Dying. No, The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead?
Don't ask me.
The Dead and the Sickly and the... Which was me. Bro, I just had COVID.
David just had COVID. He hasn't been to work in 2 weeks. He just started
I
a
don't
job.
actually know if I'm still employed there.
Probably. I mean, so when I was supposed to start at my newest job, because again, I quit jobs and I got another one, unsurprisingly, I had to tell my bosses, "Hey, I'd love to come in and train this week. However, I got COVID." So not only did I get a new job while at home, but I quit my job at the time at the bakery also at home because I had intended to go into work for my last 2 shifts and then I almost got COVID. Turns out I tested negative the entire next week and a half after both my roommates and another close contact of mine told me all in the same day that they had COVID. So go figure. I did not end up getting COVID, which is good, I guess, but that meant that I could have not only started work sooner, but also ended my job at the other job sooner. But I digress. So you're feeling better, obviously.
Yeah, I'm alive.
He's alive, not testing positive anymore. But you still got that positive attitude, that trademark David optimism.
Woohoo.
So he's been up to that. I've been up to playing out a lot more, playing music a lot more live. And the fun part about that is finding out that I don't actually... I surprised myself. My voice was never shot those 4 days in a row that I played last week, 4 nights in a row. And I have 3 more in a row shows this week. I do tonight, tomorrow morning, and then Friday night in Chicago. So it's going to be a fun couple of days. Honestly, it will be a fun couple of days because this is kind of where I wanted to get to, where I'm regularly playing out. So if you want to see me play music, then follow me on social media and you'll see my schedule, at least for September. And then, I plan on releasing my schedules week or month to month, as opposed to all, 20 something shows on one post. Cause that sounds like way too stressful. I'm not going on tour or anything. I'm just playing at a bar for 15 people. And that's all it is. But it's still playing. It's still gigging. Other than that, what else have we been up to?
Getting packages stolen, crawl spaces flooded, and rewatching the MCU. Wow.
So one out of the 3.
Wow.
One out of those 3 is good.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, man. Sorry about your package. What was the package that you got?
Movie shelves. 2 of
right.
them.
That's right. Movie shelves.
2 of them.
Hanging shelves?
$400.
What do you mean movie shelves?
They're just bookcases, but they're for movies.
Oh,
because I have a lot of them.
Yeah. You do have a lot of movies.
And we were home all week, all day. And then we went out to see Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters for 3 hours.
Yeah, the bonus
And
stuff.
in that time, it was delivered and stolen.
Holy shit. Oh, man. That must not have been a fun drive home.
No, I didn't know until yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it said it was going to be delivered on Tuesday, but it was delivered on Saturday.
Oh, so it got delivered early.
Because the prick left it on the fucking garage.
Tip for Amazon drivers and people who are delivering packages.
FedEx.
Just be better. Just don't suck. Especially if you're delivering packages to an apartment complex or a condo complex or anywhere where there are multiple tenants. But even so, shit can still get stolen. Like my season 2 part 2 Blu-ray set of My Hero Academia.
Wasn't that just delivered to the wrong address?
I think so. But I think the thing was we had on our street we have 2. I almost said my address, but we almost had 2 houses, or we do have 2 houses with the same exact numbers, but they're different streets. So what I imagine happened, because they didn't take photographic evidence when they delivered the package, what I think happened was it got delivered to a different house. And then, fun story, David and we were with our friend Josh a couple weeks ago after seeing the Dragon Ball movie, the new Dragon Ball movie, which we still have to do a review for in due time. And we went to Half Price Books on a whim, thinking we haven't been here in a while. It would be nice to shop again. And if you've never been to a Half Price Books, just know they sell exactly what they advertise, but also they sell movies and games and things of that nature, fun stuff.
What we talk about.
Yeah, just
Too bad we never got into books.
Too bad we never got into books. Otherwise, we would talk about books a lot more.
So today, on today's podcast, we will be discussing the perks of being a wallflower. Or what was that really shitty, like, ghetto book?
Huh?
Remember? There was, like, a ghetto book we read for, like, middle school or high school.
A ghetto book?
Yeah, it was about a family, like, in the ghetto. Lafayette knew... I was reading it in the first Fadiddle video.
Lafayette, who was 6 at the time, knew only that his brother sold teas and blues, though this book sucks, man.
There are no children here. That's what it was.
There are no children here.
Yeah. You remember that book? You ever read that?
I mean, we got assigned the same book. I don't know if I don't think I ever read it.
The point is, it was just a gag because we don't read.
We don't read at all. I read manga, but that's about it. So anyway, speaking of manga, so we're at the Half Price Books near my parents' place, where this package had allegedly been stolen a couple years ago. And we're going through the anime section where they have manga and collections of anime, and lo and fucking behold, what do I find? But season 2, box 2, or part 2 box set of My Hero Academia in its original packaging, and I'm like, there's no way. And I checked the inside, and I'm like, if everything is still intact, if everything is still like wrapped up, I gotta get it. And I did not have the money at the time, but I got it. And because lo and behold, 2.0, I said it again, so it gets 2. Everything was in there, and it was like in the original packaging. So I was like, it's fate. This is the universe punishing me for the mistake of being naive enough to think that
I bet it was the exact same copy.
It probably was. And that family, whoever got it, our neighbors, who I don't think I talked to and asked, hey, did you pick up the wrong package? I don't think they opened it up. I think they were just like, what the fuck is this? And then just didn't touch. Because if you're going to buy the season 2, part 2 box set of any anime, any show or whatever, you're going to open all that shit up on the inside, right? Or if you're a collector and you don't open it up, you're going to put it in a case or something. So whoever sold that in near mint condition, I guess fuck you. But thanks for not wanting the thing that you got sent incorrectly. And also, yeah, so people who are in the business of delivering packages, just make sure it's to the right address and make sure it's not in a place that's easily stealable.
Not wide fucking open like the goddamn parking lot. You fucking moron.
Yeah.
I blame you.
I blame you too.
Piece of shit.
This should have been bonus episode stuff.
I'm sorry. I got really upset right there.
That's okay.
I got genuinely angry.
Yeah.
At this fucking asshole.
I mean, because that's money that you're losing out on.
Yeah, $400.
Yeah. And I had to pay another $40 for the $30 thing that I bought a couple years ago. So overall, I spent $70. So basically the same thing. It's pretty much the same thing.
I just watched Lightyear, and I thought, you know what? Let's talk about all the Toy Stories.
Yeah.
And wow, that's 5 movies. Shit.
5 movies. So we got to go through them rapid fire. But that's going to be topic number 1 is Pixar. Well, specifically Toy Story franchise plus Lightyear because it's new and topical. 2, we're going to talk about Megadeth because of their new but their new album that's been in the making for like a year and a half, something like that.
At least.
And then finally, to close things off, if you remember from last episode, we are talking about Pokemon yet again. If you look at the new Pokemon merch I copped from Box Lunch, no free clout, but they did give me Box Lunch money. And the guy at Box Lunch today was like, "You can spend it early if you want." And I said, but I didn't see anything that I wanted until we went around to the side of the store that had all the Disney stuff, and they had a hoodie that was like cream colored, and it had like the Space Rangers, like whatever, like Star Command. And it looked like, and I was about to get that today, but I was like, I don't need it. And then we were walking out of the mall and I was like, fuck, we're talking about Toy Story today. It's literally the only time that would have been, until we talk about Pixar, which is going to happen eventually. And then we'll both have some Pixar merch probably. But why don't we get to it? Why don't we just let's just dive right in, guys. Remember old YouTube? Let's just jump right in. Let's just dive right in to a box of toys. It's gonna hurt, so wear protective clothing.
Toy Story might actually be my favorite animated movie
Of all time?
Yeah.
The first Toy Story?
Yeah. I might be.
Why?
I really like it.
Okay.
I really like it. You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Or what about the scene where Buzz Lightyear's like drunk on tea?
Ms. Nesbitt.
I am Mrs. Nesbitt. Probably one of the fucking funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. So first of all, it came out the same year that we did, 1995, and it was made partially by my previous boss, Steve Jobs, who helped found Pixar. Yeah.
Oh, fun fact. I didn't know that.
Yeah, fun fact. And yeah, man, I don't know. It just came out at the right time
he was
because
never your boss. He was dead before you joined Apple, wasn't he?
he was. So, by my previous boss, Tim Apple's, according to Donald Trump, he called him Tim Apple once, which I think is so funny because he's such an idiot. Idiot! You moron! I've been watching a lot of New Girl, so I'm taking up a lot of Schmidt-isms. He talks like that. But anyway, Tim Apple, a.k.a. Tim Cook, if you bad. He was friends with Steve Jobs. So, like, degrees of separation, I guess. Anyway, Toy Story. So Toy Story follows, if you don't know, a group of toys owned by a kid named Andy, who is probably one of the most terrifying computer-generated characters I've ever seen in my life, next to Sid, who takes a solid first place, who is also in the first Toy Story movie.
It doesn't look the best, but the writing is still there.
And the story is still there, too. It's a classic story. It's almost like a buddy cop movie, but it holds up as one of the finest animated films ever made. To this day, even if it doesn't look the best, you have to remember at the time,
It probably did look the best.
Yeah, honestly. It spawned a lot of competitors through that in really set computer generated movies, like animated movies, CG, onto the path that it's on today. Even for like video games, like it pioneered a lot of technology that is still used to this day by film companies and film schools for students and video games and stuff like that. So on a technical level, in real life merit, Toy Story is an accomplishment for humanity and is a big step for animation. But on the scale of just story-wise, character-wise, writing-wise, it still really works. I don't think the original Toy Story is going to make me cry anytime soon. It will make me laugh out loud. And I am a little terrified whenever I see the scene of all of Sid's toys ganging up on him, and then I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now, and then Woody turns his head around like an exorcist, and he's like, play nice, and he does that, and he scares the shit out of Sid, who grew up to be a garbage worker, and he had the garbage truck in Toy Story 3 that like tied all of the it's a rumor that Sid is the guy who at the end of Toy Story 3 tied Lotso up to the front of his truck.
Oh
yeah, because I think the guy with the truck had the same like skull somewhere on his shirt or vest or whatever.
Interesting.
Anyway, yeah, I think Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, They play those characters really, really well. And all of the supporting cast, too. Like, throughout all of these movies, except for maybe Lightyear, but we'll get to that in a second. All of the supporting cast in the Toy Story movies, they're also really, really good. Like, I to this day, that is the standard that I set for myself for any group setting. Like, when I was working at Apple and we had our group meetings, it kind of felt like when the toys would have meetings in Andy's room. I don't know. There was just a camaraderie there, and you could tell that we were all in this together. And yeah, Ham is really good. Rex, played by Wallace Shawn. Oh my God, Mr. Potato Head. Slinky.
I was like,
Slink Dog.
Yeah, bro.
Bo Peep.
Arlie Ermy as the sergeant of the
Oh my
toy
gosh.
soldier guys.
Yep. Yeah. The only person you could have cast in that role. And it really made, like, getting to grow up with Toy Story. I don't know, man.
I think that's the thing, because if you look at the timeline of those movies coming out, I mean, the first one came out when we were born, so we didn't really weren't really there for that. But like Toy Story 2, we were around like 5, 6, which is probably when I saw like both of those.
Yeah.
And by the time Toy Story 3 was coming out, we were
about to enter high school.
Like,
it was the summer of 2010.
Yeah. But like, you know, growing up, giving your toys away.
Yeah.
And then Toy Story 4 drops around the time people are having kids. I mean, not us, but like,
right, our friends and people that we know. So
it follows, like, if you were born or like lived close to early Toy Story, and by the time you get to 4, like that, like it follows like you in life.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Well, and that is emblematic of the Pixar timeline as a whole, in general too, given that we start with really simple concepts like what if toys were alive, and then by the time the audience who grew up with Toy Story is at an older, like, the movies start getting more and more intelligent as time goes on, because now we're getting movies like Inside Out and Soul, where it's like, what does it mean to be alive, and what does it mean to, like, have feelings and learn about development, and it's amazing. It's crazy, but we'll have to save that for our Pixar talk, because now we gotta go on to Toy Story 2, which came out not super shortly after the first one, but it was 2000. Toy Story and then Bug's Life and then Toy Story 2.
Around 2000.
Yeah. Toy Story 2, I don't remember as much, because we were talking about it earlier today. It's the Pixar movie, like, bar none, that I've watched the least amount of times. Like, even including Bug's Life, because at least I've seen that twice. I don't know how often I've seen Toy Story 2, but I remember bits and pieces. Like, I remember the fight between Buzz and Zurg at the end of the movie, where they do the Luke, I am your father thing, which at the time I thought was really funny, because I was like, I know that reference. But I think as an adult, if I were to see that again now, I'd be like, that's a little on the nose, isn't it? That's a little, like, too self-referential. Because that implies, like, do they have Star Wars in the Toy Story universe? Do they know that that's an iconic line, or is it, whatever? So there's a lot of questions. Aside from that, they introduce, like, they go into, like, Woody's story a lot more. We get to meet Jesse. We meet Bullseye. We meet the pickaxe guy. I forget his name. Wally, maybe?
No, it's, I don't know what it was, but yeah.
Yeah. And we see all the commercials for Alice Toy Barn. Holy shit, so good. And, like, the guy, I think Newman from Seinfeld, Wayne Knight, I think he played the guy who ran Alice's Toy Barn. Al. Yeah. He dresses up in the chicken suit. And then I also remember the scene where all of the other toys have to sneak out and rescue Woody, and they hide under the traffic cones, and they're, like, out of Andy's room, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
So overall, it's a really cool movie, and it spawned the meme of Woody walking out of his box, when they're all, like, playing around, and he, like, tips his hat or whatever. Yeah, Chad Woody. But I remember the least about that one. I also remember there was that montage of Jessie talking about her old kid that had the song When She Loved Me, which unironically makes me, like, tear up every time I hear it. Or when somebody loves me. I don't know. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. And I would rather have that over You Got a Friend in Me any day, because the first couple of notes of You Got a Friend in Me.
Some other folks might be. I still think I can sing that whole song from like heart.
Do it right now.
Let me do it right now.
Ba ba da ba ba da ba 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 da na na na.
You got a friend in me.
Dun, da, 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 dum,
You got a friend in me.
dum, da, 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 ba, da.
What's the first?
Yeah, I think
When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed,
so. We
you
came back.
just remember what your old pal said. Boy, you got a friend in me.
We just came back from a break because my camera overheated,
Some other folks might be a little bit stronger than I am.
and he's been
Bigger and stronger too,
been
maybe. But none of them
he's been
will ever love you the way I do.
singing this whole
It's just me and you, boy.
time.
And as the years go by, our friendship will never die.
And I remember that part because in Toy Story 3, that's when the song fades out and you hear "Friendship will never die," and then it cuts to their friendship dying because Andy gets really old, like he gets a lot older, which segues us into Toy Story 3. And easily my favorite out of all three. Or all four, including Lightyear, I guess all five. Toy Story 3 is the movie that I would watch for a really long time if I needed a good cry. Like if I just needed to cry, I'd watch Toy Story 3 because it really got me. So yeah, like David was saying earlier, it was the movie that made us realize that these folks at Pixar were really catering the movies that they were making to the original viewers of their first movies, because there's a lot of references to Andy getting older and Woody having to move on from being Andy's toy, and there's also a lot of dark themes in that movie, as well as one of the darkest scenes in Pixar where you think the whole gang is gonna die.
Literally everyone on the planet thought that was the end.
Like in an incinerator. We thought everyone was gonna die burning up in an incinerator. And they drag this scene out where they're all holding hands, accepting their fate, all collectively. They go from being really, really scared, and then I remember like Bullseye is the first one. He starts freaking out, and then Woody just holds his hand out, and he's like, without even saying a fucking word, he's like, "Let's die together, buddy." And it's just the most terrifying thing. I would understand if a lot of kids didn't like the third one because it was too scary. And Lotso was too scary. He was too mean. But that's what makes it a badass movie, is because like the villain is written really well, and it's like a prison escape movie, and it's like there's a lot of action to it, and like the humor is really, really well written.
There's the one scene where they reset Buzz, and then he like gets like Spanish mode. He starts dancing with Jesse.
We love Spanish Buzz.
Oh man.
Yeah, and Lotso Huggins is a really good, like all of the new characters they introduce, all of the actors that are playing those roles now. Michael Keaton plays Ken, who is like a companion to Barbie in this movie, because obviously he is. But he has this whole scene where he's going through his wardrobe and like, who else? Yeah, they introduce Bonnie, who is the new kid who ends up taking all of Andy's toys at the end of the movie, and that scene always makes me cry so hard because that's the end of the movie, is like Andy giving these toys to Bonnie, and then he's introducing them one by one, and he's like, "This is Jessie, and she's the rootness, tootness, whatever." And then it gets to Woody, who Andy thought he left out of the box because he was like, "I'm going to take Woody with me to college." And then Woody, of course, is in the bottom of the box because he's like, "I'm not going to leave my friends behind." And so Andy's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And Bonnie's like, "Sheriff." And she's like, Andy's like, "What? How do you know who Woody is?" Because Woody had, broken out into Bonnie's house earlier in the movie. So she goes to grab him, and then Andy like gets defensive, like he reverts to being a kid again, and Bonnie doesn't understand because she's like, this is an adult that I'm talking to. And then Andy in that moment has a really good, like, he knows Woody really well, and he describes Woody to Bonnie, and he's like, this toy will never leave you behind, and he's very thoughtful and really nice, things that an average person talking about an average toy would never. Like, he goes into descriptors that are like about Woody's personality, and I'm like, okay, you don't know him. He's not he doesn't talk to you, you know, unless in the 10 years between movies Woody actually did. But I don't know. And then Andy drives away to college, and then all of the toys on the step get up and they, you know, are saying goodbye. And then I think Woody says, so long, cowboy. And
So long, partner.
So long, partner. And that's where it gets me.
Yeah, Woody is like, see you, space cowboy. And
Yeah.
it's prequel. It's a prequel movie series to Cowboy Bebop. And then the world wanted to bitch when Toy Story 4 got announced.
It's already a 25-minute timer, but I can set another. What should I name this one?
Fuck you.
25-minute fuck you timer, starting now.
What the hell? I can't believe
I didn't know Siri had a pair of balls on her. Wow.
Damn.
I wouldn't even. Good for you, Siri. Honestly, call me out. I've been calling you a dick ever since I got an iPhone. I've just been calling her names. Anyway.
Yeah, Toy Story 4 drops, and everyone's like, oh, it closed out so well. It closed out so well with Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, Andy's story did, but
Right.
Woody's still fucked up. He's
yeah,
like,
Woody's still.
bro, what? I don't know what to do with my
He's
life.
still developmentally, you know, stunted.
So it's very much his story, and it's very much like for like parents, like I
Yeah.
said, who like grew up with the other movies.
Well, and by the end of it, Woody and Bo Peep, because Bo Peep is back, because Bo Peep got sold I think in between 2 and 3, because I think she was Andy's little sister's toy, and I think Andy's little sister gave all of her toys away in a box, except for Barbie, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. But Bo Peep is back. She's a badass. And Woody, by the end of the movie, decides to stay with her because there's this whole, like, it's this theme of letting go and moving on and finding adventure. And Woody doesn't, you know, he's going through the same motions that he did with Andy, and Bo Peep is like, but there's more out there, dude. There's more to this life than you know, being a kid's toy, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. It's a love story. And then there's Forky, who's a fun character. He's literally just a spork with googly eyes and, like, pipe cleaners, arms and feet. And that's it. And I think he's got, like, sticky tack for his mouth. It's nuts.
Trash.
He's trash.
Trash.
Yeah, and
Sentient garbage.
yeah, but he's awesome because it's basically like just a baby that that Woody has to babysit.
Yeah. And of course, we got Key and Peele coming in.
Yeah, as
Ducky and
Bunny, the standout characters in Toy Story 4. I remember I really liked Toy Story 4. I haven't watched it in a bit, but I know my little sister, she likes Forky. She likes Toy Story 4. And who knows? Who knows if we'll ever get a Toy Story 5? But, you know, there's no more Woody, no more Bo Peep. I honestly don't think we need a Toy Story 5, but I said that about Toy Story 4, and we got one, and I liked it. So, who knows? But instead of getting a Toy Story 5, what we did get was Lightyear, which I know we already talked a big chunk of Toy Story today, but with this being kind of the newest release, I want to focus on it a little bit more with the rest of our, like, movie time. Because Lightyear is the movie that Andy saw in 1995 that inspired him to get a Buzz Lightyear toy.
Yeah.
So it raises a lot of existential questions, like I don't know, but yeah, it's like, do do toys look the exact same as like people in this universe? Like, is this just what like was the technology in 1995? Like, was it the same technology that we used to make this movie? Like, what there are layers to this, but if you don't overthink about it, it's pretty good. It's
fine.
It's not super memorable. I think I hyped up Chris Evans playing Buzz Lightyear in my head more than I probably should have, because I mean, he plays the role pretty well. I think the redesign of Zurg is really cool, but the twist that
I hated that.
Spoiler
I think that's
alert.
So dumb.
Yeah, so there's time travel in this movie, which obviously complicates and is kind of cop out for whatever kind of movie you're trying to write. There's a time travel aspect to Lightyear where he's trying to figure out warp speed, and every time you try to enter warp speed, you move forward in time because you're moving, so fast, I guess. I don't know. But because of that, all of his friends fucking die. And he hasn't figured out how to get off that planet that they got marooned on.
All of his one friend. He only talked to Hawthorne, and that was it.
Well, right, yeah, but still, that was kind of a sad sequence, because then the last time the time before the last time he leaves to try warp speed again. By now, everyone on the planet has had lives and cultivated more relationships on this planet. Like Hawthorne had a wife and a kid and grandkids, and there's a scene where he throughout this montage keeps going into her office to be like, hey, I'm going out again, it's good to see you, but I'm going out again. And so you see Hawthorne get married to her wife, and then you see their kid graduate from high school or college or whatever. You see him get married, and you meet the kid's wife. And by the end of the movie, by the end of the montage, he goes into her office and it's gutted out. There's nothing in there except for a desk. And then there's a little video, and it's like, hey, I'm in the hospital right now. And if you're seeing this, I'm probably dead.
Yeah, peace out.
Yeah, but it was really a sweet moment, because it's this is the one friend that Lightyear had, and the person who was holding him accountable to this promise he made about we're gonna get off this planet. So the message, the central character development for Lightyear, I think, is really admirable, and I like that a lot. And the cat,
Socks.
I almost called him Boots. Socks is the best character in the movie. I fucking love Socks so much. There are some moments, trailer moments, that are a little annoying, when he's analyzing, he'll go meow 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 meow, which is it's definitely oh, we need catchphrases for the toy that we're gonna put out. When you push its paw, what is it gonna say? But he was really cool. Taika Waititi is in this movie because of course he is. He's everywhere now, and he just plays Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
I think Keke Palmer played Hawthorne's granddaughter, and her seeing the statue of her grandma at the end of the movie was really sweet. And then the other I forget what the
convict, the parole one.
Yeah. I mean, she was funny, and her interactions with Taika Waititi were funny. But yeah, the twist in the middle, or towards the end of the movie, you find out that Zurg is actually Buzz from the future, from an alternate timeline where he came back from experimenting with warp speed, and then he just went as far as he could with warp speed, and then went to a future that had the alien technology that Zurg acquired. So he was like, I've just been waiting for you, which doesn't really make sense, because if time moves a lot, I don't know, man.
Dumb idea.
So
really, it should have just been the other commander that was trying to arrest him,
or I think,
just make him just robots.
I think what could have been funny is if it was the rookie from the beginning of the movie that Buzz kept shitting all over.
Oh, yeah.
If it was him, I would have laughed out loud. I would have been like, what? And then he's like, who's the fucking rookie now, bitch? And then kills Buzz.
I would have rather just have him be just a robot.
Yeah.
We're on a different planet. It's the future. They're just robots.
But Buzz needed to learn a lesson, I guess. So his lesson was these people already have lives, and I'm not, trying to like go back to a life that we were living before is only going to set us back. So why not look to the future? And so he becomes friends with the new Star Command. He defeats Zurg until you see a post-credit scene where Zurg is still alive. I guess Buzz. And Star Command is,
Oh yeah, then the other post-credit scene with the robots still giving the guide, which I thought was pretty amusing.
Yeah, I like that robot. I forget what the robot's name was.
Derek.
Yeah. I think it was Eric at first, and then like when they made him like a rebel, they just drew a D.
Yeah.
And they gave him like spikes and like Mad Max and Mad Max outfit. But yeah, overall it was pretty good. I've seen it twice. It didn't really get better the second time, but it didn't get worse. So it's a very average watch. So I don't know. If you're like a really big Buzz Lightyear fan, if you really like space or like Star Command, then obviously, you're going to find more things to enjoy about it. But if you're going into it thinking you're getting the unadulterated Pixar experience, you're just setting yourself up. Because that's not what it is. It's just an average sort of average Pixar movie. But not to end on a bummer of a note, the Toy Story franchise is not ruined by Lightyear. You can still enjoy Toy Story even if you don't like Lightyear. Next topic, Megadeth. Megadeth. So this is Megadeth's first album, and I mean not too long.
6 years.
6 years? Is that when Dystopia came out?
2016, yeah.
6 years ago?
Yeah.
Holy fuck. I thought it came out earlier than that. Anyway, 6 years is a long time, and it went by in a flash because, we're adults now, so that's just what happens, I guess.
Yep, completely different band because Dave Ellefson is a pedophile now or something.
Something like that.
And what happened? Super Collider sucked so bad, half the band quit.
Before Dystopia?
Yeah. Because it was... Well, Dystopia had Chris Adler, session drummer for Lamb of God. The guitarist Kiko is still... he was still from that one, but then all the bass tracks got redone by a guy from a different band. I don't know. But they got... The new bassist is the guy that replaced Dave when he left. The Endgame and United Abominations bass player.
Oh, gotcha.
Whatever his name is, I don't know.
Right.
But it's a different band from Dystopia, again, is what I'm trying to say.
So it's been a while since Megadeth put out music, and to be honest, I don't really have any expectations. Megadeth is one of those bands that I don't have expectations for anymore. I don't
think we ever really got into them.
No, I think partially because I, for a really long time, saw them as second fiddle to Metallica in a lot of ways. But also, I think there was just sort of an ACD-ification of Megadeth where everything that they put out kind of melded together. And I think that's the case with this album, too. Not to say that there aren't good tracks on here, but I think they're really only good if you're already a Megadeth fan. Like, I don't think Megadeth is putting out songs anymore trying to win people over. I think they're just doing what they do best. And the exciting part is that because they have rotating band members, it draws more people in. And now, I'm paying attention to the drums more because the drums are kind of going hard. And, you've told me...
Dirk.
That
man Dirk.
Yeah, you've told me before this album even dropped that they were working with this guy and that I should be paying attention. And I have been. And the drums go crazy on this album. I think the guitar playing is still just as thrashy as it's ever been. Dave's vocals haven't really changed a whole lot. I think his voice has actually aged pretty well. I think he wasn't ever doing anything crazy in the early days, and even on like Rust in Peace or not Rust in Peace. That's what the album's called, right? Yeah, Rust in Peace or Peace Sells. But yeah, no, I think even since Peace Sells and Rust in Peace, the band has continued on this trend of, I don't know. In your Megadeth video, when you talk about this album, I don't know. You mentioned a couple of things that I agree with, right? Like, what did you mention in that?
How he needs to stop doing these goddamn spoken word / sampled bridges.
Yeah.
It's getting really goddamn annoying. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you think about, like, their greatest hits. Fucking Sweating Bullets.
Yeah, reset.
You know, bloodstains on my hand. Like that whole, like,
Yeah.
middle part, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking the title track, Countdown to Extinction. It's like, oh, every hour, thousands of species are disappearing. It's just these fucking, like, samples, and I don't understand the point of them.
Yeah.
I never liked any songs that do that. And he does it a lot.
He does.
And this album is no exception.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, it's one of those signature Megadeth things, I guess, that kind of set them apart. It not even that, like, I think Dave's doing it to set themselves apart. I think it's just at a certain point you get stuck in a certain style of writing, and I think Dave's experimentation days are over. Same thing with Metallica, same thing with AC/DC, same thing with, like, a lot of these artists and bands.
Every time he tries to experiment, it backfires extremely.
Yeah.
In the 90s, it was Risk, and just recently, it was Super Collider.
Yeah.
And both those albums are, like, considered their worst. So
Yeah.
it's like, fuck it.
So, you know, there are certain bands that are able to pull it off, but I think it's because they consistently try to experiment. Like the Beatles, other than their earlier stuff, I don't think they wrote the same album twice ever. You know, them, I feel like Panic at the Disco, at least their first couple of albums were, like, very different genre-wise, and it didn't work at first because it never does. People are never excited about change, you know, especially when it's an artist whose album you've gotten really used to liking, and then their next album is like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. But then, you know, 10 years later, people look at Pretty Odd by Panic at the Disco, and they're like, this folksy record is, like, not bad. Like, it kind of slaps, and 90 in the Afternoon is a really good song.
It's like, you know how many Saint Anger fans there are now?
Yeah,
people
right?
defending it.
Yeah,
but I swear to God, if people show up and like, oh, Lulu was a good album, actually, I'll fucking kill you. It's not. It's trash.
It is objectively bad.
Not to get. We gotta get back to
right.
Megadeth,
So
like,
I don't know. Are there any standout tracks for you? I know.
Yeah, the title track was my favorite easily, because the intro is really cool.
Yeah,
and like the whole ending riffs. Yeah, Sella, Butant, whatever. The first half, The Mission to Mars, Soldier On, We'll Be Back. These are all, like, pretty solid songs.
Right. I think my favorite is We'll Be Back. I know it's kind of a cop-out to say, but as far as songs that stood out and had my attention, for the most part, I was coasting along, and at least on this first listen, I was coasting along most of the album, and there weren't necessarily any standout moments for me. I know I did really like the beginning of Mission to Mars, and then what was the really thrashy one that was in, like, double time for the first half? The one
Maybe,
that had the
Life in Hell or Night Stalkers. Those two are the other, like, thrashy. They're, like, the first couple tracks.
Yeah, I mean, I like Night Stalkers. I don't mind the Ice-T part. It reminds me of, like, there was
just more fucking spoken word shit.
Yeah, except I would say that it's done by someone who, like, you know, has already a history with, like, rhythmic things like it. So, like, it reminded me a lot of Linkin Park put out a song called it featured Rakim, who's like a huge influence to Mike Shinoda and, like, a big name in, like, that style of, like, rap. And that song was, like, 6 minutes and very, like, thrashy, as thrashy as, like, Linkin Park could get, but Guilty all the same. Oh my God, that would have killed me. But yeah, there were a couple of songs on there. Like, I commend them at least for, you know, trying to. They were like, that's probably one of the songs that, like, or one of the decisions that came way later was some producer was probably like, Dave, you write a lot of these, like, spoken word parts, and he's like, yeah, so what? And then they were like, well, we want to get Ice-T on one of them. Why don't we get, like, you know, a rapper on one of them? And then Dave was like, well, we're gonna get someone that I know. And
no, there was, like, an article or something how Dave wanted Ice-T on it.
Oh,
because that song is written about like Army or something, and Ice-T was like part of that or some shit.
Oh.
I don't know, but
Interesting.
that's why. So what are like your favorite Megadeth songs?
Tornado of Souls is my all-time favorite Megadeth song. There's just something about the riff that gets me going every time I hear it. And other than that, I liked À Tout le monde a lot for a while, but only because I was going through a phase when I started learning guitar that I wanted to look up every band's like acoustic songs, just to find some inspiration. But I did like what's the song, the album with Gears of War on it?
United Abominations.
Yeah, there's a song on United Abominations that I really, really like. That was like towards the beginning.
Washington is Next?
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think I like Washington is Next. I also really like Peace Sells. I think Peace Sells, and it's kind of a cop out, like a soft covers all answer to say that the popular songs are some of my favorites, but there's a reason that they're so popular. I think Peace Sells and Rust in Peace are like the two most iconic albums for me. They weren't back to back, were they?
No, there was So Far So Good, So What in between.
Yeah.
Very close.
Appetite for Destruction, I feel like, is as iconic.
That's Guns N' Roses. Which
Countdown to Destruction. Countdown to Extinction.
Yes.
Okay.
Countdown to Extinction. Are you thinking of Symphony of Destruction, the song on it?
Yes. Oh my God. There's just so many. So I feel like Countdown to Extinction is as iconic for Megadeth as the Black Album is iconic for Metallica.
It was. Oh, it's so tragic. But like in those days, Dave just wanted to beat them.
Yeah.
Metallica so badly. So they made Countdown to Extinction, and it hit number 2 on the charts.
Right
and what was
behind.
number 1? The fucking Black Album.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, poor
Yeah.
dude. Poor
Yeah,
dude.
but I mentioned this. What about you? What are your favorite Megadeth album or songs?
Oh man, I got a bunch. I mean, on the first album we have Riddlehead, which is
Yeah.
like their Whiplash. So good. Like Wake Up, the last part of Wake Up Dead is great. Peace Sells, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
The Conjuring.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Tornado Souls, Holy Wars, Take No Prisoners is super underrated.
Because that's off Rest in Peace too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even I love Endgame. I really like. There's a lot on Endgame I like with This Day We Fight, how the story ends, the right to go insane despite the shitty ass bass tone.
Is that the album that came? Was that their 13th album?
No, that was 13.
Okay, because I was wondering. I think Black Sabbath put out an album called 13 as
They did.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting it confused with. But I remember. So I went to go see Megadeth years ago. I think it was like 2011, something like that, because they were about to release 13. Or was it Endgame?
No, Endgame was like 2008 or so. 13 was like 2011 or some shit.
Okay. Because I saw them as part of Mayhem Fest in Chicago, or, Tinley Park. And they were on the main stage. So first of all, Anthrax was playing on a smaller stage. And I didn't see them because I didn't really give a shit about Anthrax. But I thought it was cool that Anthrax and Megadeth were playing the same festival in Chicago, like, where we lived. And they were two of the big four. And on the main stage in the evening, they opened with Machine Head. They had an album called Locust, I think, or something.
Unto the Locust.
Yeah, that was the album that came out that they were promoting. And then I think it was Megadeth. Then I think it was Slipknot, and then Disturbed. So it was kind of like there were a lot of really big bands that night. And I remember thinking Slipknot was cool to see because I went to go see them like the festival with my stepdad, and he is big into Slipknot. And I was like, there were some songs that I recognized, like from Guitar Hero 3.
Before I forget.
Yeah, it was before I forget. Yeah, and we didn't get to stay for any of Disturbed's stuff. I think I heard 1,000 Hands or 1,000 Fists, and then I wanted to stick around for Stricken, and we didn't get to hear Down with the Sickness either. But that was because my mom wanted to leave early, given that parking lots after concerts get really nuts, and she was not that was the first moment in my life where I was like, is music not as important to my mom as it is? It wasn't even that important to me when I was that age, but I really liked that concert. I really liked hearing Megadeth sing Countdown or Symphony of Destruction, and they did Tornado of Souls that night, I think. They definitely did Holy Wars. Yeah, it was so cool. I haven't seen them since, but I would. Honestly, I'd go see Megadeth.
I've never seen them, but I'd only see them if they were touring with someone else I wanted to see, like really wanted to see.
Yeah, because I don't think they're ever going to headline their own tour anymore. I don't know. I don't even think Dave cares about that anymore. I think they're doing fine. And like this album is emblematic of that. I know I used the word emblematic earlier, but I just like it and I think it makes me sound smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, fucking be sure to check out my ranking of Megadeth, which is definitely going to be out before you see this.
Honestly, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, he's going to rank all 16 albums.
I think it's 16. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. But yeah, be on the lookout for that, and be on the lookout for more content from both of us, because we both do stuff on our channels. Him more so than I, but I'm getting back on that train. I promise. But before we end, I don't want to speed run through Pokemon, but I think at this point we probably have like 7 or 8 minutes. Not that there's much to talk about with Gen 2 anyway, because we found out before filming that it was really just the core games and then Pokemon Stadium 2, which neither of us played.
Nope.
But we could at least talk about Gen 2, because Gen 2 is one of, if not my favorite region. Not even, I guess the Johto region is my favorite, but like the Gen 2 games and the remakes, and anytime like Johto is mentioned, like in our mobile games, they just put out like a Johto expansion, and they released, Lugia as a Pokemon, which is my favorite legendary, and blah, blah, blah. But Pokemon Gold and Silver are as genuine sequels as I think any Pokemon game is going to get, other than, I guess, Black 2 and White 2. But, like, Gold and Silver just felt so much more special because it wasn't the same region. Like, you got to explore Kanto at the end of the game, so you got to collect 16 gym badges. You got to fight the Elite Four twice. The second time they had, like, Pokemon from Johto and, or from Kanto. And you get to fight the player character that you played as in the last game at the end as like a secret boss. It's fucking sick. And like the Pokédex for Gold and Silver, I think to this day has some of the best designed like Scizor, one of the coolest looking Pokemon I've ever seen. Like, I love Scizor so much. He's on my dream team. They're like Sudowoodo started the trend of Pokemon getting typings that don't make sense, even though, like, because you look at Sudowoodo and you're like, that's a grass type. Yeah. And you try to hit it with a fire move, and then it's like, not very effective. And you're like, what the fuck? And then it uses rock throw, and you're like, what the, excuse me? Yeah. And then the most recent, I think, example of that is Grapploct, who you look at and you're like, oh, it's a blue octopus. I found it swimming in the water. It's a water type. No, just pure fighting. Yeah. Stupidest. Oh god, I was so pissed because I did not want to use Barraskewda in Sword and Shield. I so badly wanted to use Grapploct as a water type, but I digress. So Gen 2 had some really underrated character or Pokemon designs. It had one of the most fun regions to explore, honestly. We still had HMs, which were a pain in the ass, but it's got the best boss fight going up to Mountain Silver, and there's no music, and then you talk to Red and you see ... because like of course he doesn't say anything, and then you hear like the champion music start to play, like the ba 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 ba, and it just gets you so hype, and you're like, oh shit. And then at this point you've only beat the Elite Four once, so your Pokemon are in the 50s, and then you go up to Mount Silver, and the first Pokemon he sends out is I think it's Venusaur or Blastoise. And they're like in the 70s. It's like 76. And you're like, holy shit. And his Pikachu is level 81. It's like, at least I'm pretty sure it's 81. His Pokemon are some of the highest leveled in any game, like, period. And so it really is like final boss, like Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 2 level. Like, you gotta grind. Like, you cannot just jump back, you cannot just fight Red as soon as you finish beating the Elite Four once. Like, this guy is going to run laps around you. because it's your player character from the last game, and it's like, well, now I have to beat myself. It's so oh, I will never get over how cool that concept is. Never ever. But yeah, Gold and Silver. What are your favorite Gen 2 Pokemon? Do you have any?
Well, I always went with Totodile.
Yeah.
Never once used Chikorita.
I've used Chikorita more times to make up for
Actually,
that.
maybe I did once. Like when I went through Gold or Silver on my like 3DS.
Oh,
just because
yeah.
I've never used it.
Mm-hmm.
Johto is a region where it's tough because it was like Gen 2 and 1. I get them confused a bunch. It's like who was actually like part of the new group in Gen 2.
Yeah.
Because I, played Fire Red a bunch, and a lot of Johto Pokemon were in Fire Red.
Yeah.
And I'm just, I can barely tell the two regions apart, honestly.
I think
Like Pokédex wise.
right. I think Ampharos is a standout Pokemon from Gen 2 because it was, I think, the first like 3-stage electric type. So it almost felt like Mareep was like a starter Pokemon, because you got Mareep and then Flaffy, and then you had Ampharos at the end.
The unknowns are my favorite of Gen 2.
The unknowns.
Fucking love the unknowns.
Yeah, there's the completionists out there are gonna appreciate unknown because they all do the exact same thing, but they just look different because they're different letters of the Roman alphabet. I think Roman alphabet, Latin alphabet, whatever. The American one, ABC. Yeah, you also had Jumpluff, who I think is very underrated. It's a grass flying type, and it starts out as a Hoppip, which I think is one of the best designed Pokemons ever. It's got the spiky leaves, and it spins like a helicopter. Yeah. And then Jumpluff is just like fluffy. I just wish its stats were a little better. Ledian is to this day my favorite like Route 1 bug type, but its stats are garbage. Oh God. Ledian's such a bad Pokemon, but I love its design so fucking much. God, why are you gonna give it the Iron Fist ability where it increases the power of punching type moves and make its attack stat like 15? Why are you gonna do that? You don't give it any opportunity to increase its attack stat other than using Silverwind and praying that it increases your stats by 1 level when you use it. That's if you don't use all 5 PP of Silverwind because Silverwind only has 5 fucking PP. Jesus, man. Crobat got introduced in Gen 2. Legitimized the Zubat family. And then, every villain team, like, from those games onward used a fucking Crobat.
Yeah.
Steelix. Like, it had a lot of generational evolutions that were, like, I cannot think of Onix never having an evolution, But even, like, the first gym leader, Faulkner, his signature Pokemon is Pidgeotto. Like, it's not a Johto Pokemon. But I think in the anime he has a Noctowl. Noctowl's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The less cool owl.
Cool owl, yeah. The less cool owl. And then, of course, you have the legendary... I'm learning they're they're cats. They're not dogs.
They're cats.
Yeah.
They're like tiger-ish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're
everyone called them the dogs.
Yeah, the legendary dogs. Yeah, right. That combined with the fact that it's pronounced Raikou and not Raikou it's so heartbreaking to me. They're not dogs, and I have to call it Raikou.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, Lugia. They were the first games to introduce the dual box art legendaries because we only had the 3 birds and then Mewtwo and Mew in Gen 1 as like rare Pokemon. And then in Crystal, which came out after that, introduced, or I guess Yellow introduced like the 3rd game of the region. But Crystal introduced animations, like sprite animations.
Yeah, and then the drop downs of the towns you walk into.
Yep.
Chris.
Yeah, Chris, the first female protagonist of the games, and then we got to play as May and Brendan in the next games. And it was just like the steps that Gold and Silver took from Red and Blue, and like, after that, like the steps that Crystal took from Yellow. I don't know. It's just impressive to think about. Like, even though like the games as a franchise their quality of life have been improved so much more beyond that, but that was like an important first step for the franchise was like acknowledging, okay, this franchise is really popular. We got to make a sequel. And then they treated it like a sequel where they just improved a bunch of shit. And they added a new region and they added like 100-something new Pokemon. They were also my first Pokemon games ever. I like the ones that I owned. The first Pokemon game I ever owned was Pokemon Silver. And I remember very vividly, I talk about this in the Pokemon retrospective that we made, like a year ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah, that no one saw, but...
That no one saw. That we were going to make a part 3 too, but, part 1 took so much work and no one watched it. And then we put up part 2, or you put up part 2.
Even less people watched it.
And even less people
I
watched it.
put it up on my fucking birthday.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I'm not going to ask for you to donate to any shit for my birthday. Can you just watch this video? Right. No one fucking watched it.
Right.
All you fucking fake-ass friends.
Hey, all right.
I'm still fucking pissed about that.
Yeah.
Everyone. All you. Shame on you.
I will speak for both of us when I say that we both love Pokemon so much, and
you know how long that shit took.
Yeah, it took a long time to edit that one for him, and the only editing that I did was for my own segment in the first video where I talked about my first experiences with Pokemon ever.
You could tell I saved the timeline screenshots of 1 and 2, and I tried so much less than 2 because it was just man, I don't know how people do that. Like scroll through footage, endless amounts of other people's footage, to find the specific thing you're looking for. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, like when you're doing commentary videos and you're using footage from other things. I don't know. It's nuts, y'all. It's fucking nuts, y'all. But yeah. Anyway, I think because Silver was my first game. Chikorita was technically my first starter ever because my mom started the game with me. It was the morning too.
Chicky.
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, you get to pick a starter Pokemon. That's cool. Go with Chikorita because it's cute, the cutest out of the 3. She did not like Totodile, and Cyndaquil freaked her out, I guess, because his eyes were always closed. So she was like, pick Chikorita. That one's cute. And then it gives you the option to give it a nickname, which I didn't know was a thing in Pokemon. And then she was like, name it Chicky, because she is terrible with nicknames. She named both her 2004 and 2013 Toyota Camrys Cammy. Changed one letter. And, I don't know. In her head, it makes sense. In my head, I'm like, that's a little contrived. But as soon as she left the room, I restarted the game and I picked Cyndaquil because I was like, that's the Pokemon I want. Typhlosion became my first level 100 Pokemon ever. Lugia was a close second. And then my sister restarted the game and saved it.
You know how much I sacrificed?
It was heartbreaking for sure, but because now I can never go back to that original cartridge and look back. Not that it would even work, because like the batteries they get old and they dry out and stuff like that. But
yeah, bro, Crystal was my second Pokemon game.
Yeah, well, and we'll get to your first Pokemon games, next episode.
Yeah,
but I think
Crystal was good. Like these early generations with the third game, they make the other two obsolete. Honestly, like there's no reason to ever actually play Gold and Silver.
Yeah,
when Crystal's there.
You got Yellow, Crystal, Emerald, Platinum.
Yeah,
and then Black and White were the first ones. Were like,
that's when it stopped.
Yeah, and then
you fucking game freak. Where's Gray?
You should have made Pokemon Z.
Where's Pokemon Earth? Z. Gun. And now it's gonna be like
Scarlet and Violet, and you have like some sort of green. I don't know.
But Verde,
Pokemon Verde. Yeah, they're like different salsas now. Yeah, have you ever tried violet sauce? So anyway,
Pokemon Indigo.
Pokemon Indigo. Yeah, people have been like making fan games for years, and
I think there's actually a Pokemon Indigo out there.
I think so too. Yeah, and then Pokemon Stadium 2, we never played. I never had an N64. I didn't even have a GameCube. So a lot of these games I'm only going to have short experiences with. So if you stuck around this long, we have a surprise. We went to FYE today. And the last time that we did this on air, I can't remember which one you specifically picked out, but I remember the last time we did this on screen, on camera, we were opening Cowboy Bebop keychains, and this time they are horror icon keychains. So it's like, you got like movie posters and like horror icons. And I think...
Yeah, this one, unlike the Bebop one, I would not be... Like, I like all of them.
Yeah. So we got a choice between... What's the kid's name in The Shining?
I mean, if I get Pennywise, I'm going to be kind of upset.
Yeah, Pennywise, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees,
Danny Torrance,
Annabelle, Danny, and then Reagan.
But even like the posters are really cool looking. They're like mini posters.
Yeah, and they have two exclusive ones. So let's open these up really quick while your camera's still alive.
I just rewatched The Conjurings, which none of these have anything to do with Conjuring, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Oh no, Annabelle's there. Never mind.
Oh.
Never the fuck mind.
Annabelle's there. That's right.
Annabelle Creation specifically, so that's the only good Annabelle movie.
Annabelle Creation freaked me out. Like, there was that whole scene during the day where the main girl gets pulled into a little house. Yeah. All right. Who do we get?
Hey, I got Annabelle.
All right, and I got the Shining poster with the two twins that says Red Rum. So,
you know what? I wanted Jason would have been my go-to.
Yeah,
if I could choose. But you know what? Conjuring 2 is my favorite horror movie ever.
Whoa!
And Annabelle is in that movie, so I will take that.
All right, and with that, we are signing off. I think it's about time we got out of here. So. Happy beginning of fall, the best season in the entire year, because both of our birthdays are in the fall, and Halloween, and horror movie marathons, and Pokemon comes out every fall. So, yep. And a Marvel movie. This year it's Wakanda Forever. So, which is I feel like gonna be like really good. Like we've had a lot of like middle of the road movies and shows so far, but Wakanda Forever. I know you're going to be great.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Better be. What is this?
That is a we don't know. Hold on. I'm just going to It doesn't have the year, but it's a Volvo V60.
Yes.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you how old it was. Anyway, bye.